This
Well,
conference will now be recorded.
welcome. For those that don't know who I am, I'm Bob Young. I am a senior information developer at Rockwell Automation in Mayfield Heights. I'm also currently the current president of Northeast Ohio Society for Technical Communication, which we finally call NEOSTC, as president. Thank you for joining this informal meetup. We hope to do more of these. These are just kind of informative, fun webinars. They're a benefit of membership. I also have to forgive me, I picked up a little bit of the sniffles yesterday, and I'm also going to apologize in advance if my dog starts barking. We have a squirrel that likes to taunt the dog, and it's coming up on 12:30, and that's when, believe it or not, it's like clockwork. Anyways, as you'll notice the title there that you're staring at, I have my in parentheses. I would like you to look at that as you reading it as your 3 most valuable STC membership benefits. Um, right this year, what we're really focusing on is membership and increasing our membership ranks, as well as hopefully trying to draw younger members. The culture in the United States is really shifting. The younger generations need casual environments with the flexibility to learn in social environments and be social in professional environments. And so they're calling these meetups. And so what we're trying to do today and in the future is just have like 30-minute discussions. And I clearly want this to be a discussion. So what we're going to do here is go to the next slide. By the way, I only have about 4 slides, so don't worry. I'm not trying to kill you with PowerPoints, but this is to keep me on schedule because we only have a short amount of time. So I've explained a little bit about these mini webinars, and I really do hope that we start doing more of these because I think if you have a conversational tone, I think that's a lot better than when you're walking into that room alone. Everybody remembers that first time, not knowing anybody. We're a very laid back group, and that's one of the things I love about NEOSTC. So these conversations kind of fit right into that in terms of the discussion of excuse me, membership and as you know what we can do. So I've already explained about my STC membership benefits. I obviously am going to get into more of that, but I want you to be thinking about what your membership benefits are as well, because I'd like at the end to have maybe a little bit of an open discussion. But listen, if I leave you with anything else today, it's this. I hope everyone heard the drum roll. That was done for dramatic effect. Okay, the quote is, how much is STC membership? All you need is one lead, and that's a job, and it pays for itself 10 times over. Bernard Eschwanden was just in town in September. He did a full day seminar for us. Bernard has his own company, Publishing Smarter, and he is an expert in technical communication. If you have any kind of questions, Bernard's the man to go to. What Bernard was talking about, he gave 2 presentations in the morning, and then he gave an afternoon, which was just phenomenal, on 2019, FrameMaker 2019 and tips and tricks. The morning session he started out was about how to go into business for yourself. But it was also a little bit more of marketing as well. And so he got on the discussion about the fact that when you get out of school, or even if you're in a present position, how much time do you spend on a resume? How much time do you spend on the cover letter? Time is money. Doesn't matter if you're at home or at work. I mean, how much time and effort are you willing to put into finding a new job? And we've all done this, and we know that it can be time consuming. You've got your, back and forth in your head. Is this the right fit? Should I leave the present job that I have? By being a member of STC, one of the greatest things about NEO is that you're going to find out is that through friendships, you're going to hear about different positions. You're going to get to know the different companies where people are working. You automatically get a feel, you get a general idea of, will I fit into that environment? So membership is $199. I can tell you I chaired a special task force last year. STC asked us, I picked members, various members from around the country, and what we were tasked to do was to find out how to improve membership, how to create more activity for chapters. We did a whole study, an entire study on all of the professional groups in the United States, and the average is $199. So I can tell you, you're not paying more, you're not paying less. I do have one little caveat. You have to spend an additional $25 to be a member of NEO STC. And the reason I'm pointing that out is this is the first year where we told them before you had to opt in. Okay, I believe now what you have to do on your form, though, is you still have to write in Northeast Ohio STC. Please do that, because if you join and you haven't written that in, you will not be counted towards being a member of NEO STC. Now, obviously, we can straighten that out, but it would just be, it would help us out if you could do that. All right, moving on. This is like Letterman. I'm not giving away the first, I'm not giving you my top benefit right away, because then I'll lose you guys because it's lunch hour. So you're going to have to suffer through. The very first, number 3, is easily staying current. Now, what do I mean by that? By staying current is, if you'll notice down below that picture, they're all on cell phones. Okay, can you imagine 10 or 15 years ago us talking about doing documentation for cell phones, or maybe so, or the different breadth and width of HTML that today is going on? It just staying current, staying up on trends is incredibly difficult. And so by being a member of STC, you have the ability to hear what the current trends are, because we have meetings, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. Kelly Sherwin, she is the director of editorial strategy at Higher Ed Jobs, and she writes blogs. And one of them she wrote was, why do people join professional organizations? And she cited that, number 1, they want to enhance their network. 2, take charge of their career. And 3, broaden their knowledge. Okay, so by broadening your knowledge, you're staying current. And I often hear people also say that, well, STC was important 10 years ago, but today with Google, it's kind of passed them by. You don't really need that anymore. If I have a question about software, I can just Google it. Well, I'm not going to debate that. You can find information. What you cannot get out of it, and what is so important and vital, is the interaction. And the interaction not only helps you find a job, but it builds skill set, not just for for software, but it also builds your skill set in terms of that 5-minute first introduction meeting, how to shake a hand. We've had presentations before on this, but it's also about the best in class with technical communicators, is when STC really has kind of a deep social connection, and that's what I think puts us at the forefront today. For instance, Bernard coming in and spending a full day. We have other experts in their fields, and they're willing to come in. We have meetings that gives you that tries to keep you or help you to stay current with the units. So that's my number 3, and I haven't even mentioned the best, which is that third bullet, and that is something we started this year called Slack. Slack is a collaborative social application. and it's a member exclusive benefit. And if you need, you can contact me, and I will give you the link as a member to get in. And I'm really hoping that we get more people. I love Slack. Um, it is so easy to use. It's you don't have to take a day to learn, and you can talk. You can talk to the officers. You can talk to other members. You can find out what's going on. Now we also have a very, very excellent. I think it's one of the best. And I'm not just being biased, but I've seen other websites. If you go to www.neostc.org, you can see all of the events. Julianne has been doing a wonderful job of keeping everything current. Our next meeting is November the 8th. So I will talk in a couple minutes more about that. But the journals you can get on Slack, you can get RSS feeds. And interestingly enough, the other day I was talking to someone from another chapter about artificial intelligence. We have Peter, I forget it, Sakimara. Forgive me, Peter. He goes by Scotch. He's coming in April, and he's going to be giving us a discussion on AI. But I was talking to someone about that the other day, and they said, "Hey, let me send you this article," and it was unlocking the value of unstructured data. That is what is so important about membership. I was talking to this individual about something else. I mentioned about the fact that we're unstructured right now in Frame. We might be going to structure, and he suggests this document. Document was outstanding. In fact, I've already shared it with my boss. Number two, okay, moving right along, is education and training. Now, I mentioned already about some of the NEO programs, but another key benefit that I want to talk about is leadership. We have all kind of opportunities. You can come and just take advantage of the meetings, or you can get involved with committees. And the only reason I tell you to get involved with committees is because you get a better than understanding of our organization. I would have never have guessed. I'm in my second stint as NEO president. The first time I ever walked into the meeting, not knowing anybody, I would have never have guessed I would have been president of NEO, let alone be a fellow of NEO STC. So I owe my career to NEO, and I'm going to explain that in a couple minutes. But we also have online webinars. As a member, you can get discounts for those. Certification. Right now, STC has classes that you can take to become actually a certified technical communicator. Mentoring. Mentoring, I don't think we talk enough about, because I think a lot of times we tend to do this and we forget to bring it up. Mentoring means a lot to me because when I was leaving, I'm a sports writer by trade, that's what I went to college for. When I decided to get into technical writing, I called up the head of the marketing department at Timken. I told him I was not calling him to bother him about a job. I asked for 15 minutes to talk to him about corporate communications and marketing, because I wanted to see if that was possibly an avenue that I wanted to do. Now, fortunately, I knew Michael from being a sports writer and through my involvement with the Canton Repository. But I made it plain that this was not, I didn't want to come in for a job interview. And he gave me the 15 minutes, and it was very important. At the end of the 15 minutes, he took me back out into their floor, and he put me with one of his engineers, and for 10 minutes, he showed me around. I shadowed him. That is the kind of stuff that when you are involved with an organization such as NEO STC, that is what is just worth everything. Again, back to Bernard's quote about it's 10 times. It'll pay 10 times, because there are other branches, if I can use that term, that you will get through membership. So I wanted to mention that. And then, of course, we have an annual summit. it's every year. Well, obviously annual summits every year, wasn't that? Um, but the whole thing, it's 3 days of outstanding sessions from the best technical writers from around the world. Any STC is international. We're in France, India. Um, I mean, we're Israel. I mean, so we are global. So you get them from all over, and that is also where my third slide, when I mentioned about staying current, that's where you'll be. In fact, the first time that I was ever NEOSTC president, and actually I've encouraged someone else from Rockwell went with me to the last summit, and I suggested just take a half a day. And boy, they're gonna, and this is being recorded, don't go to sessions, just stay out near where the vendors are and talk to people. And I was able to talk to so many different people and get so many different ideas, not only about what market trends were, but what programs maybe we would want for our organization. And it's so valuable that I would encourage you to do it. Oh, went too soon. The other thing that I wanted to mention is we also have regional conferences. Rochester has a 2-day, Rochester, New York has a 2-day regional, and they're exceptional. It's worth the time. I kind of a proponent for years. I've thought that STC needs to do more regional to make it easier for people to travel. That is being discussed. It's got their ear, but for right now, I think that they're going to stick with the summit. We also have chapters also have writing competitions. Now, NEOSTC does not currently have a writing competition, but if you check our website, you'll find out that there are some competitions available. I encourage you to look today because the deadlines just come up so quickly. So now, with any further ado, how am I doing for time? Well, gotta keep moving. My number one top benefit, okay, networking. You probably could have guessed by now. But that's what I'm going to tell you a little brief story. I already started with the fact that I was a sports writer, went to school for it. I have only formally applied for one of the 7 positions that I've had since I graduated from college. And the reason for that is because simply of networking and putting me in position of being at the right place and taking advantage of those opportunities. And I can guarantee you that membership in NEOSTC or the usability professional organization or Toastmasters, you don't have to belong to one organization. Toastmasters is another great one that you can be in. But because of getting to know people in different positions, that is how I have progressed through my career. And I owe NEOSTC for my current position, which is at Rockwell. So networking, I can't begin to talk enough about it. I've already talked about that. Learning from professionals. Oh my goodness. When I was at the paper and I decided that I was going to become a technical writer, I happened to, believe it or not, this is how things happen, but I took my son and I was a member of Indian Guides. And one of the gentlemen that was there, we were talking over coffee, and I found out he had just purchased a company in town and he needed a writer. And so I went in strictly for 2 weeks. I was to help him out of a bad situation. And I ended up with that company for 12 years. But I owe a great deal to Angie Dianetti, who works at Radcom. I found out about NEOSTC. I went to a meeting, didn't know a soul. And I was fortunate enough to start talking to Angie, and she started asking me, okay, what do you want to do? What do you envision? And she made the transition from the different form of writing. she helped immensely. And so that's why I have been, for over 2 decades, I think now, a member of NEO STC. Obviously, it helps your career path. I wanted to bring this up, and this is only because of the fact that I was having a conversation about 2 weeks ago with someone, and they asked me what I did. And I tend to talk quickly. Forgive me if I'm doing that on this, but and so I rattled off, blah, 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 what I did. And I noticed that the first thing I thought to myself was, number one, I needed to slow down. Number two, I didn't really give the old who, what, where, when, and why. And that is so important because networking isn't just to find a job, but it's learning how to market yourself. And so, you want to put in where you're working. You want to put in what you're currently doing, but don't bore them to death about what area that you're presently writing user documentation for. They might not even know what a technical writer does. Doesn't hurt to tell them, what it is. But what I want to encourage you to do is by marketing yourself, and Bernard talked about this when he was in town, is related to like the fact that I'm president of NEO. What I need to tell them is the fact that the first time that I was president, we had a 10% gain in membership. When I was president of the Cleveland Newspaper Guild, I was responsible for setting and maintaining a $300,000 budget. We were a union. Okay, I hate to tell you, but with unions, there's automatically this kind of a shadow. So we were audited like 3 times while I was in charge, the executive secretary, and we only ended up paying, I think, a $100 fine because we forgot to submit one paper or one certificate or something. It was very minor. So the reason what you want to do is you want to quantify. That's very difficult in what we want to do, but you need to learn how to quantify what you do because that is what an employer wants to hear. Even if it's the matter of the fact that you've handled 10 documents, the buzzwords, you were responsible for the design and the implementation of 10 manuals, and you had to do them from scratch or something. There's other ways that you can quantify your work, but I thought Bernard was excellent on this. And it was funny because it was shortly after he was in town, I got asked from somebody, believe it or not, it was at church. And I just rattled this off real quickly. And I could tell that he had no idea what a technical writer was, nor had I explained it to the way that I should have. So that's why I wanted to put in this. I encourage everyone to have that three-minute summation or what they do, and for it to be educational. So that's all I've got. I hope you've gleaned something out of this. I hope you understand that being a member of NEO STC or any organization, the most important thing is getting active. With action, then comes a commitment. With the commitment, it will grow, and you will meet really good people, and you'll have a feel for not only what the market's doing, but like I said, if you decide to change jobs, you've got an inside window because you hear people talk of whether it's going to be a good fit or not. Because like I said before, when you change jobs, it can feel scary. So here's what I want to do. Those that do not have a mic, and I realize you're sitting there listening to this, I do have a chat window if you'd like. But what I'd like to do is, does anybody have any questions or comments? And if you'll notice that picture, I love this picture because those are people. Those are people making up the quote. So I would like your feedback. Is there anything that I have missed in terms of membership benefit?
Hi, this is Trish. I'd invite anybody who can stay on for a few minutes if they'd like to stay on. I know it's past 12:30 now. I just wanted to mention something. I work in a department of one, so the STC connection helps keep me sane. I talk to people who know what I do, so that's a huge benefit. Also, going to those conferences gets me excited about the profession again. But my number one, and it benefits your actual pocketbook, is the salary database. It comes out once a year and you can get it as a member, and it says what you should be making as a technical communicator. I've been in my job for 22 years and my salary hadn't been reviewed in many years. And I went to my boss and said, this is ridiculous. I'm not even making, the minimum or something like that. And he took it to our HR department and they adjusted my salary based on that. So that's a real benefit. You better take a look at that. So.
Yeah. And that is an automatic benefit of membership.
Yeah. So,
as well as they have two publications, Technical Communication, and they have Intercom. And I'm college educated and I love Intercom. Technical Communication is very, very detailed. It's for those that are in academia, and they talk about the different, one article that I remember in it that kind of stuck with me was the eye movement, what we look for on a page, where our eye goes first, and color. So, because we take for granted that everybody sees color, and they're colorblind people. But I just ran into that recently with one of my engineers. I took for granted that he could see this beautiful chart that I put together, and then I realized, oops, guess what? So, any other questions? Slack channel is a benefit specifically for being a member of it. Yes. Yep. Thank you, Sarah.
That's awesome.
I encourage everyone on this phone call to, if you're not on Slack yet, please contact me. I will get you the link. We will get you on Slack. I'm hoping our next meeting, by the way, I hope everyone can come. It's November 8th. It's at 5:30. It's at Keithley Instruments in Solon. The details are on the website. Kim Lindsay is going to be talking about finding the right words to not only help with e-learning, but to also present like a creative way of presenting. So choosing the right words. It sounds so simplistic, but you want to hear Kim's address. So that's November the 8th. We meet the second Thursday of every month. We try, but sometimes we have to move it based on the availability of the speaker. We also have social events. This past month, we went to a corn maze in Zalays in Akron. I had never done it. I had a ball. The inner kid came out. I had a blast. So it was a spooky corn maze. So we only got lost once. So my map reading apparently paid off as a Boy Scout. No, it wasn't that hard. Are there any other questions? If not, I'm going to let everybody go. I appreciate you joining us today. Like I said, I hope you got something out of this. And again, these are informal, fun, conversational type topics, and we're hoping to do more of these. So either check out the website, or we'll make sure that that we publicize. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone.
We'll send you the recording.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.